through the Australian curriculum achievements and content descriptions, and these resources help you to be aware of the thinking processes across year levels. And a link to the cognitive verb overview is going into the toolkit now. Thanks for that, Virginia. Now you can see that there's a range of them there, and we'll come to that in a minute. But what you'll notice is that in the primary cognitive verb, sorry, I'll go back and say that again. The primary cognitive verb toolkit, that one aims to support the explicit teaching of thinking during the primary phase of learning. And you'll notice in the suite of resources for school leaders and teachers, advice and guidance around each of the common cognitive verbs identified and associated thinking processes. And the link to the primary one, as you can see, is there in the links that Virginia put up just before. Looking at those a bit more closely, the toolkit does include posters that can be used in class. You can print these off. They're A3 size, but obviously can scale them down to A4 as well. And you'll notice the ones on screen are for Analyse specifically. The posters for Prep to Year 2 use symbols to represent the thinking processes that analyse analysing. And the poster for Year 3 to 6 uses words to explain each step in the process of thinking when analysing. For older students, the posters have sentence starters, and you can see those down on the grey box down here, and they can be used when students follow the thinking process. Coming soon to a website near you, in fact, the QCAA website, I was just trying to be amusing there, I should probably not do that, but coming soon is a junior secondary cognitive verb toolkit as well. So it will provide the missing link and provide a connection between the primary and senior secondary toolkits. However, the primary and senior toolkits can be used in years 7 to 10. The process remains the same, but the language and visual representations gradually increase in sophistication. Using the different posters may help you to differentiate for your students. For example, the primary school resources may be useful to use as students transition into secondary school, or with English as an additional language or dialect students. And the flip side of that is the middle years one might be used with students in year 6 requiring a bit of extension, for example. And sorry, I prompted Virginia a bit early before. Sorry about that, Virginia. Got ahead of myself. But in the chat box where you can find some other valuable resources on the website that go into how to help students engage in the depth of thinking required in both the context and year level as they progress in English from prep through to years 10. And if you haven't seen those resources, really worthwhile to check out. And you can see there that for the year 7 to 10 one, you can expect that that will be announced fairly soon through the usual channels that QCAA does that. All right. I'm hopeful this brief introduction to the Australian Curriculum English has assisted you in developing your understanding of the curriculum and or provided ideas for applying or innovating on your current practice. Just think for a moment about how you feel about your understanding of the curriculum, and I better just shut this down for a moment, but I'll just set this up again. Sorry, so if you can just do what you did right at the very beginning, think about how you feel about your understanding of the curriculum. And once again, I'll give you a moment to use the pointer tool or the pen to think about where you feel you're up to now about understanding the curriculum. Well, the good thing about the ones that are responding so far is that we do seem to have had a little bit of movement from the beginning, so that's great. Fantastic. All right, so as we near the end of the webinar, we'll just check in with our success criteria. So hopefully we have explored the intent of the English learning area and considered the structure of the P10 Australian curriculum. And I hope that for you, we've identified the cognitive verbs as signposts for the depth of thinking expected of students. I'll give you a few more important bits of information in a moment, including how to obtain a certificate of appreciation. Before I do that though, if you do have a question, Virginia and I will remain online for about 10 minutes after the conclusion of the session. If you do have any questions you want to ask, we'll be really happy to do that once we just finish this section of the sorry, you can tell it's late in the day. It's late in the day for you, late in the day for me too. Sorry about that. All right, look, oh, okay, now aren't we moving? Right, my slides have just decided to freeze up here for some reason. Oh, I'm getting a little blue spinning bar. Virginia, are you able to move the slides along at all? Thank you for that. Hopefully I'll be right now. I don't know what was happening there. I had the little blue spinning wheel of death. Happens to the best of us, obviously. So look, I just want to let you know about a few resources. See now, because I clicked twice, it's gone too far now. To conclude, I just want to let you know about some resources. On the left, you'll find two resources. In the Australian curriculum section of the QCAA website, you'll find the Learning Area Overview, Prepped Year 10 Australian Curriculum English. The Learning Area Overview provides a summary of the curriculum elements that we've discussed during this webinar. It gives an overarching picture of the learning area. The Learning Area Overview presentation is a PowerPoint that you can use as a self-paced professional learning, or can be delivered to unpack the learning area for staff at a parent evening, for example. It's important to note that the QCAA provides each of these resources for all the learning areas. Another way to keep in touch is the P10 Australian Curriculum newsletter, and that provides an opportunity for teachers to keep up to date with the resources on offer at the QCAA, and I can see that Virginia's way ahead of me and already put that in the chat box, the links to those. If you'd like to help shape the future of professional learning, we'd love to hear your thoughts regarding today's webinar. Once again, the links in the chat box if you want to provide feedback on today. QCAA also will offer tailored professional development. So if you or your colleagues identify an area of need, then you can request custom professional learning experience tailored to the needs of your school or cluster. And once again, the link to those request forms are in the chat box. Nearly done, 2 slides to go. Certificates of participation aren't sent out automatically, but you can email the use the email link in the chat box to request that. I haven't had to do this myself, but I would just make sure that I identify who you are, what webinar you attended and on what day, and that way they'll be able to check your attendance fairly easily. Look, finally, here are our contact details. Please feel free to make contact regarding English or literacy. And once again, all those email addresses are in the chat box. We're very happy to answer questions. And as I said, at the moment, while Virginia's off doing ACARA work, if you do have any questions, feel free to direct